a person who served as a juror during Florida rapper Ynw Melly's first trial for the murders of two of his fellow Ynw collective rappers in Broward County, told Local 10 News that the majority wanted a guilty verdict. Speaking on conditions of anomaly, the juror blamed the mistrial on one woman who served on the jury and who appeared to be determined to acquit Ynw Melly Demons for the 2018 murders of Christopher G.V. Thomas Jr. and Anthony Sack Chaser Williams. From day one, she had issues with the foreperson selected, at one point crossing her arms and saying she was done. When another juror asked to not shut down and set her feelings aside, she exploded. She was explosive, manipulative. She was rude. She yelled insults at everyone who had a different opinion. She was there to cause chaos, the former juror said. During Juror diet, when prospective jurors are questioned to decide whether they can be fair and impartial, the woman said she had previous experience with legal system because of her past family issues. She insisted this would not affect her ability to serve as a juror. On the last day of deliberation, the jurors said that while it appeared they were 11-1 to convict Demons of manslaughter with a deadly weapon, the woman pulled two other jurors aside and spoke to them for a few minutes, convincing them to come to her side. Then she came over and announced to the group that they had changed their minds. But when another juror asked why was she speaking for them, she exploded, the former juror said, adding that the woman then hurled insults, including gay slurs, at the man who questioned her. Without an agreement, Broward County Circuit Judge John J. Murphy declared the mistrial on July 22nd. It's something we were never going to forget, the former juror said. We were shaken at the end. The former juror said the decision to speak up about what happened behind the scenes resulted from the reports of Demons' mother, Jamie Demons King, was saying the jurors were deadlocked at 9-3 in favor of acquittal. The former juror said it was actually the opposite. 9 of the jurors believed Demons was guilty. That's just not true. I don't want someone out there changing my vote, the former juror said. You tell a lie enough, it becomes the truth. The next hearing in the case is on August 4th. Demons' defense team and prosecutors agreed to start jury selection for the second trial October 2nd. Yo, he is back. Another day on Keep It G News. And they be talking about Ynw Melly, as you can see in the beginning. And I had to read that article for y'all so y'all can get an understanding of where we going at with this, because stories get misconstrued on the internet. Now, they're painting this juror out to be a bad guy. That's not quite what it is. And I'm explaining this in this video. So, you're going to have to watch from start to finish, because we're going to look at the law. What law applies to this case? Because as we know, because we just heard in that article, they tried to charge Ynw or convict Ynw Melly of manslaughter with a deadly weapon. Now, from everything we know, in the beginning of the trial, this was a first-degree murder trial. Now, sometimes, in jury instructions, they give jurors an option to pick a lesser charge. But to me, they always do it to black people. Now, I've seen a number of cases on the internet. I cover a lot of them. I watch a lot of them. Some of them in our community, some of them out of our community. And every time a case is done out of our community, I never see these trumped up charges. They get one charge, and if they beat it, they beat it. But a lot of times in our cases, they hit you with first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. Like, they give the jury a laundry list of charges to pick from. And that's not fair, man. That's not fair. I don't like it. And I think it's discriminatory. If they was to do an analyst, a review on court cases, and they look at the cases between black males and white males, and the charging that they get in these cases, I guarantee y'all gonna see a stark contrast in how they handle these cases. I promise you they will. So I don't like that. So that's why I'm glad this juror, whoever she is, did what she needed to do. Because what they was trying to do with Ynw Melly was railroad. Why did I say it was trying to railroad? Check the law out. So for people that follow my channel, y'all know I've been charged with murder twice. On the same charge. Done dirty by the system. So a lot of times when it come down to these court cases, I really watch them closely because they'll get you. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you don't know the law, man. These courts will run over top of you. And sometimes your lawyer allow them to do it. So I was keened in on this case. And to me, based off the evidence, based off of what was presented to the jury, this case was a first-degree murder case or nothing. There was nowhere in the defense argument or the prosecution argument or the defense that spoke to manslaughter. So how is it that they slid that on to the jury and the jury instructions? How they do that? That is why, in my opinion, this woman stood strong against this not guilty verdict. On top of, she said she had problems with the justice system in her life. And you got to blame that on the prosecution for allowing her to get put on the jury, you know, because they get a chance to strike them. You understand? If people not familiar with how jury proceedings go, each person, the defense and the prosecution, get a chance to strike a juror, which means get him out of there. Now, some way, somehow, she managed to get on to the jury. Good for the defense. That's what you want when you're a defense attorney. You want to get those type of jurors on there. So, you can't get mad at that. Can't say she was a plant because, like I say, the prosecution had a chance to strike her. And she was upfront about her mistrust of the justice system. Now, like I was saying, this involuntary or this manslaughter case that they was trying to put on Melly was not the case that that the prosecution presented, y'all. At all. Even everything that I know, like I said, when I was going through my situation, one of the things I was taught, one of the things I read, this is law, that in order to find somebody guilty of murder, you have to have intent, you have to have motive, and you have to have opportunity. Now, in Ynw Melly case, if you apply this to their case, they didn't have motive, they had opportunity, and they really wasn't strong on the intent. Why did he do this? You understand? Why did he do it? The prosecution couldn't put their finger on. They just threw a whole bunch of scenarios out there and just was hoping something stick, yo. And that's not an adequate prosecution when you're trying to sentence somebody to life or death in prison. So though they're painting this juror out like she was the bad guy, nah, she really saved the day. She really stopped Ynw Melly from being another victim of the system, being railroaded, another black male being railroaded in the system. Now, did he do it or not? Maybe he did, but maybe he didn't. But my goal on here is to show people how this system works and how they take advantage of black people all across the United States because we don't know the law. And they able to give us these trumped up charges and they give the jury a laundry list. And it's like, man, pick from the charges, man, anyone. Even though the prosecution ain't put up, they didn't charge. That's not what their case was about. Their case wasn't about manslaughter. Their case was premeditation. Their case was Melly planned to do this the whole ride. That's why he got in the back seat. He had a beef with Sack Chaser. It was money involved. He wanted to cancel him out on the business end. That's all premeditation. How is it that 11-1 they was ready to sentence Melly or find Melly guilty of manslaughter where the evidence didn't speak to nothing about a manslaughter case? Nothing. It looked like to me, if they was to look at Florida law and look at the people that was sentenced in Florida for murder, it looked like to me that's just a cop-out when they don't got a strong case. Give them manslaughter. Because when you look at the evidence, when you look at the case law, when you look at the law that speaks to manslaughter, they don't really say too much. It's just that he did it. But when you look at the examples, it says something different. You understand? And the examples that they give when you type in what constitutes manslaughter in Florida, it says nothing about what happened with Melly case. At all. So like I say, man, though they painting this juror out to be the bad guy, she really saved the day, y'all. Now, like I say, if Melly did it or not, That's not up to me to decide. Do I think he did it? Based off street knowledge? Yeah, I did. I do think he did it. But, like I say, we got a justice system, yo, and sometimes it works. And it looked like to me this was the only juror until she was able to persuade others that knew what was going on and knew they was trying to railroad this guy, man. They just wanted to convict him of something. That's what it looked like manslaughter is in Florida. We got to convict him of something. Let's give him manslaughter. But there's no clear depiction on what actually constitutes manslaughter. And I can tell you one thing for certain. What happened in Melly case is not manslaughter. It's not second-degree murder. It's not involuntary manslaughter. The case that the prosecution presented was a first-degree murder case or nothing. Straight up. But like I said before, with this evidence, do I think a jury can convict him? Maybe. We'll see during the next trial, man. Scheduled for, what, later on, what is it, October? But let me know how y'all feel about us in the comments. Just keep it G News. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. And, yo, salute to my supporters, man. I know, yo, we've been killing it over here when it comes down to these trials, man. I don't know what these other people is doing on the internet, yo, but we've been consistent the whole time. And I salute y'all, yo, for rocking with me, man. Straight up.
You be dreaming about your dreams. I been living out my nightmares. I been missing, I been bed. The other night she was right there. I be lurking with my bros. I be crying with my mom.